Welcome, 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 everyone. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Coco, spiritual coach, life coach, someone just who is here to give you the information, let you guys know that I love you. I have your best interest at heart. And welcome to Panacea Sundays. So if you guys don't know what Panacea Sundays are, it's getting to the root cause of, illness and of it. We're just getting to the root cause of it, of the illness, of the hurt, of the trauma, and figuring out how to heal it. And so if you guys are new, we have done a whole segment based on the chakra system. We started last month with the root chakra. We're entering this month with the sacral chakra. So I think that we should get into it, okay? Introduction to the sacral chakra. If you guys don't know what the chakra system is, it's an energy, it's okay, understanding the chakra point of view. Sorry, I say this every time. Let me slow down. I get so excited coming to bring you this information because me teaching it to people or me just telling you guys and giving you the information, it's new for me because I usually just have conversations about it. So yeah, understanding the sacral chakra, the chakra system, and this is what we're also going to go over: understanding the chakra system and the significance of the sacral chakra, exploring the location, color, and element associated with the chakra, recognizing the qualities and imbalances, and identifying common physical, emotional, and energetic symptoms of an imbalance sacral chakra. So I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for sticking around. Thank you if you've watched the other videos and you're all the way here, just kind of now integrating yourself. Welcome. And yeah, let's get into it. So because we are studying the sacral chakra, let's understand the chakra system and the significance of it. So the chakra system is an ancient concept that describes the interconnected energy centers in our body. The sacral chakra is located in the lower abdomen, associated with emotions, creativity, sensuality, and pleasure. It plays a vital role in our overall well-being and balance, you guys. So this is going to usually be the feeling where, again, it's located like at our hips, like at our pelvis bone, almost to like where your belly button is at. It's going to be like in that area. So that's a lot of the time where people would think like food goes, our intestines obviously are there, but when we eat, we think that our food goes all the way to like the bottom and lower part of our stomach, and eventually it does make it there, but it has to pass a bunch of different just like passages, like us eating it through our throat, through our esophagus, all these extra things, and then all the way down to our stomach. And then our stomach is actually located at a higher place, more around like the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra, around the solar plexus. And so just understanding like where it's located, sometimes you'll get the urge or you'll get the feeling of something's not safe, and you'll kind of feel it in your gut, and like your gut obviously is like here, but most of the time when we associate that gut feeling, it's at a deeper point, like way lower. And so that's usually the sacral chakra or the root chakra that you're feeling. Maybe it's going to be a little instability, or you're feeling not connected with yourself, and you're not feeling desirable or pleasurable, and that plays a vital role again in our well-being and how we see ourselves and how we come off to others. So exploring the location, the sacral chakra is located in the lower abdomen, just below the navel, and its color is typically described as orange, representing warmth, creativity, and vitality. The element associated with the sacral chakra is water, symbolizing fluidity, emotions, and adaptability. So I definitely feel immediately my brain went to men, and how usually we don't connect with them on the level of intimate, like men are more physical. I feel it's safe to say that men feel more intimate when they're physical, like touching and being like inside you as a woman, maybe intercourse. And for women, we feel closer to you when we're talking to you. And so if that's coming from the sacral chakra point, a lot of the times I think it is because the man feels usually like they have to perform, or they have to put on a show, or they have to be the one that's the chaser or the one that's attracting. and attracting in a way where like they go out to hunt, you know, so they're gonna go out there and then see something they like, and then boom, that's like where the connection, where it meets. And I feel for women, we like those words. We like being able to share how we feel without having to be so close, because it is one form of like setting a boundary. I feel a lot of the time when we get to speak with our words and we're not immediately emotional with someone, we can kind of determine the pace of how things are happening, okay? And so a lot of that has to come again with that interconnectedness, with creativity as well. A lot of people will ignore their sacral chakra and ignore like the simple pleasures of just joking around, or maybe being a little bit inappropriate, or maybe, you know, people will call it like putting, like letting your hair down in the wind. And I think that we escape some of these things and we forget these things, because as we get older, the only thing that we necessarily care about is security, and a lot of the time just kind of getting the things that we want. And if security is one of those things, sometimes what it looks like isn't the same for everyone. And so some people need emotional security, some people need physical security, some people need, I'm like, physical, who are you, Rihanna? Some people just need like these different elements sometimes in life, just because they've been lacking it for so long, or it is represented in a negative way, maybe as they were growing up, or maybe it's something that's just been introduced to them and they created like some trauma around it. So I think this is a very important chakra to kind of deal with. Also the color orange, we're going to be talking about different foods and stuff, but the color orange is also like, when you guys think of the color orange, don't you think just something just like so yummy and like good, and like I think of food immediately when I think of orange. I also think of the sunset. I also think of just like, if I were in a room that was all orange, I would feel like it's very vibrant and tangy, and it has its own personality. And I think that's what we have to think of with these chakras as well, is like they're gonna have their own different personality and their own attribute to kind of contribute to how we are as people. And I do want to say that a lot of these chakras that we're going to talk about, sometimes some of them can be in alignment and one of them can be out of alignment, and you'll feel completely fine. And sometimes you'll feel that you're in complete alignment where things are. You do have the foundation, you do have the security, you are working with your heart, you are feeling happy, you know what I'm saying? You're understanding where you're at. There's a certain type of awareness that you have. And I feel like you guys are at a point. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm starting to channel the color orange. Yes, so sometimes you can be in alignment and feel like everything is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that stillness, or having that period where you have an epiphany and you don't necessarily know what to do right after, I get it. It's scary. It makes you feel like you don't know, like it feels like your stomach's like caving in, but that's the perfect moment to get out there and manifest and start over. That's where your sacral chakra is really going to step into place and get you to a point where you feel like this stuff is easy. Like I'm able to, you know what I'm saying? I did it once, I could do it again. And you'll get more into that, but you have to kind of play in that area where you have to know what you like and what you don't like. I felt in my previous videos that I would talk a lot about, or yeah, it was one of my first videos about like just knowing yourself and what you like and what you don't like. And that's 100. That's where I think everybody should start. What do you like? What do you not like? And after that, you're going to look at your wants and your needs. So I feel like the sacral chakra has to do a lot with the things that you like and you don't like, you know what I'm saying? Like just because you like these things and don't like it, sometimes we tolerate it, sometimes we don't, but it's a choice. And I feel like sometimes our wants and our needs, it is a choice, but they're distinctive, and now you have to deal with them differently. If you guys get what I'm saying, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But I do feel like there is a certain like risk that you have to take on yourself if you are going to try to heal your sacral chakra, because a lot of the things you're going to feel really silly. Like, I know sometimes you guys see people and adults and they're just playing around and they're having fun, and you're just like, oh my god, you're so immature. But not in a way where it's like immature where it's hurting people's feelings. It's like an immaturity where everything is fun to you and you want to engage other people, and you guys, you know, might be playing at the beach, kickball, whatever it is. You want to integrate other people at a level where they can join too, where I feel it's not the immaturity where it's like you're hurting other people just because you're being selfish, and you guys get it. There's a distinct difference. So yeah, we talked about the color and the element. It's good to keep I'm not saying it's good. This is a good chakra to keep open, but this is the chakra that's going to help you heal and forgive people. I feel a lot of times it does deal with your heart, but I feel like when it comes to the things that you like, and you, in the world that we live in today, you're going to have to keep there's a word for it. And I'm sorry, I'm having like a brain fart. I was like, give me the word, Spirit, please. You're going to have to keep revamping your life where you're just like, I have to start completely over. Okay, now I have this. Now, even though I have this, I want there to be, I want this to expand, or I want this to be better, or I want to change it. And there's always going to be constant change. So your sacral chakra is going to help you just kind of adapt a little bit more when it comes to healing yourself and knowing yourself, and again, forgiving yourself, because if that chakra is going to be open, you're going to be more susceptible and more open to taking chances, and taking chances on people and the things that you enjoy that are going to bring you that desirableness, if that's a word. It's the things that you really desire and the things that you really want. Again, that vitality that just brightens you up. If you look at a fire, it has like, everyone likes to have like that blue heat at the bottom, whenever, right, around it, and then it is like clear, and then usually you would start off with red and then orange and then yellow and all that. So that orange is going to be the center and the foundation of what's going to keep you going. It was 11:44 on the clock when I said that. Okay. Let's talk about recognizing the qualities and imbalances of the sacral chakra. So the sacral chakra is characterized by qualities such as passion, creativity, emotional well-being, and healthy relationships. Imbalances in this chakra can manifest as emotional instability, lack of creativity, low libido, or difficulty in establishing and maintaining healthy boundaries. So this is so important. I would love to tell you about this. I would love to tell you. It is so hard to set boundaries. I don't care what anyone says. It's hard to set boundaries and keep boundaries, because sometimes people will cross those boundaries, whether you put them up or not. Sometimes people will debate with you and negotiate the boundaries that they feel are appropriate. I understand if it is a boundary that makes you feel uncomfortable and you need to, you know, have someone say like, I need XYZ from you because it helps me. Okay. But however, if you try that and that person, like, they're not, if people aren't saying if they're not saying what they're doing and the words and actions don't match, that's a huge problem. That's a really big problem, because if you're someone that's setting boundaries and people are abiding by those boundaries and you're still being toxic, or you're still hurting other people, or you feel even that you don't want to give people the respect of their boundaries as well, I think that's a very harmful place to be in, and you're going to need to hone in maybe on something different other than healing your chakras, because that could be a completely different, it could be associated with something different. So let's talk about what healthy relationships. I want to talk about a couple things and I'll keep it quick. So emotional well-being, I feel a lot of people don't necessarily know what that is. And your emotional well-being is going to be the part of you that takes care of you emotionally, that keeps you up and going in the morning, that gives you your personality, your life, your understanding, your awareness, like the way you're able to like consume information and what that feels like, how you process emotions, however you want to put it. It's all those things in one. And if you are someone that is trying to establish healthy relationships and you are emotionally unbalanced, I don't want to say that. When you're emotionally unbalanced, you're usually put in situations where you're around people and you would wonder why, oh my God, how could I get myself into this situation? Why would they ever do that to me? Why would they tell that secret? Why would they, like, I would never do that to them. And I don't mean certain things like, and I don't mean small things. I mean things that cause betrayal. That it, like, betrayal triggers an emotion in us that a lot of people are traumatized by it. So a lot of the times when we are trying to establish healthy relationships, there needs to be an understanding of what, first of all, what type of person am I and what type of people am I attracting? And a lot of people like to say, well, opposites attract, opposites attract. No, it's not that opposites attract. Excuse me. I'm going to retract that statement. Opposites do attract, but you allow the opposite to come in and create that, like, friction, that fusion, whatever it is, and then they create that, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not holding your boundaries. And if you're someone's like, I'm trying to be friends with someone, but when I hung out, like, they ditched me, that's kind of on you as well, because you need to figure out what type of person this is before you're even going out and trusting them to that level. And I think that comes, sorry, let me calm down, let me slow down. That comes with a lack of boundaries, that comes with, like, a lack of understanding of what you deserve, and maybe you don't know what healthy relationships look like, and that's something to analyze in your life. I definitely think I recently just started understanding what healthy relationships look like. And when it comes to being on an emotional level with somebody, whether you're in a relationship or this is a friendship, sometimes it can be like, and you're emotional with your coworkers. I suggest not. But I definitely think that if you are someone that's trying to establish healthy relationships and have understanding of just yourself, so you can figure out what type of person you need to be to represent yourself in other people's lives, so you can attract like minds, because we attract opposites and we attract people who are like us as well. Because if not, we wouldn't be resonating with, if this person's an opposite to me, I wouldn't be resonating so much with them, if that makes sense. I wouldn't be like, yeah, I understand your struggle. Oh, I empathize. Oh, I understand that. Because if they're opposite to me, how come I can relate with them so well? And so that's an analyzation of, yeah, they're attracting themselves to you because you need to create a firm boundary of, you don't need to be around these people. And you got to kind of block your way out until, you know what I'm saying, you see a different direction. And I am an example of that. Oh man, you guys, I'm just playing with you. I'm having a good time. I hope you're having a good time. I'm just drinking some tea. I have some mullein and green tea. I need to get rid of the mucus in my body. I'm trying to drink more tea at home and not Starbucks, because I love that. I love that. But listen, so having healthy relationships, if you don't know what one looks like, I would suggest start looking people up online of what you consider from the outside a healthy relationship. Because I'm not going to say I don't like these podcasts, but I feel like with these podcasts, there's a lot of people exposing themselves, but they're also bringing light to situations. A lot of people are like, well, why are we sharing our lives online? Life was so much better before we're sharing our lives online. Is because there's some people in these situations that everybody feels alone and they feel like they've never experienced this. So now we're at a period where we can understand and we can see that a majority, a vast amount of people have experienced the hurt, the neglect, the betrayal, the, backstabbing, the, being misunderstood. We relate in more ways than none. And I feel like the people, and I'm not talking to people who necessarily don't keep up with podcasts. I'm just saying, or don't keep up with social media. I just think that we're in a point right now in life where the internet is available. They make it available so we can, well, first of all, they have an agenda. We need to use it in a way where if you're going to use it and you are like, oh, well, I go online all day and I don't see any of this stuff, you need to revamp. That's a sign that you need to revamp your life. You're not understanding that you keep trying to live and like your whole narrative. Okay, let me explain a theory to you. And it's not so much of a theory as it is an idea or a concept of me trying to explain something. If life was a spiral and we start like in this circle, and like if we were like this and we were in a spiral, I'm about to hypnotize you. It's like, I'm just joking. I take that back. I'm just joking, you guys. I might trigger some people. Excuse me. But if we were born and like, let's say this is our mother's umbilical cord, like from like our tummy, you can't see my belly button, from like your tummy, the belly button, and you're growing life. And let's just say your spirit is like this circle from the umbilical cord from when you were born, and it's just a born energy in the spiritual world, and it's just going. And as you live, and every 7 years, let's say you're supposed to start a new cycle and start over again and again and again. And I feel like a lot of you guys want to keep this umbilical cord, even though the beginning of that umbilical cord is so dry and crusty and has no life, and it's sucking out all the nutrients of the new ideas and things that you have. And that's because like you're living in this old narrative, and when it's time to upgrade your life, and I have to be honest, I'm not even trying to preach right now, but upgrading your life means everything when you want to see change in your life. Like, I was just talking to my client today about pretty much like, if you want to see change in your life, you need to create a routine. And you guys know I went back to this and how I referenced the McDonald's diet, the fence rider, and the completely healed or the assumed completely healed versions of how people are working on things. The only way that we're going to change our lives is if you're on the fence, you have to create a routine for yourself. Because if you don't have that routine, there's no way that you're going to be able to get into a place where you have all the things that you want and you can't take care of it. Because then what was all that hard work and crying and begging on the floor and asking God all this if you would have been handling your responsibilities in the first place and taking care of yourself and trying to make sure things were good? You won't feel like who cares about all this material stuff on the outside, to be honest. Because I hate to say it, I don't hate to say it, I love to say that we are very privileged. Some of us are very privileged for living in a house, have decorations that are hanging on a shelf. I'm very appreciative. I didn't have that when I was growing. I didn't have a chance to have that growing up. So I appreciate all the journeys and small little things that have gotten me this far. But your place in life is to not be stagnant just because you want to be able to change things in the past or change people or change the narrative. Just live who you are and how you're showing up, and be present in the moment, and make sure the moments that you're living right now are more valuable than the memories that you have of the past that you're trying to change. Okay? I was like, that was a spoken word from Coach K. Like, I'm just joking. Like I said, I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I will say, let's get on the next. And maintaining those healthy boundaries. We'll talk about a lot of these things. If you guys have questions, I'm just explaining the theories to you so you can just get a little bit of, understanding of how your chakras work, what it looks like, how it's being represented in your life. And let's get on to the next. So, identifying common physical, emotional, and energetic symptoms of an unbalanced chakra. Sacral chakra, to be specific, because that's what the topic we're on today. Ooh, I'm like, what should I say about that? What should I say about that? I need to stop. I need to take care of my throat and my body. Also, it was a full moon. How did you guys survive the full moon in Taurus? I feel like it went well, but also leading up to it, it didn't go well. I was being a little bit emotional more than others because I was on my cycle, and I think that's normal, completely normal. So yeah, I was a little bit topsy-turvy when it came to my emotions, and I hope whoever heard me out or listened to me or let me complain or scream, I really appreciate you. And I'm finding ways to be a better person. Like, I am not perfect. I feel like when people look at me, they look like, oh, you're perfect, da, da, da. No, I have a little bit of the tizzy. So I like to explain a lot of things that could be beneficial to your life because I learned something today. Also, because I'm on a constant journey of me working on myself and bettering myself, I'm going to have information that I'd like to share with people, but sometimes people don't want to hear that. And I'm starting to realize that. So again, wait for that transition of if you're focusing on yourself, there's going to be a transition and God's going to give you that little step to get you to the next place that you need to go. Okay. 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 I think we talked about this. No, because let's see. Because I don't think we talked about, oh, healthy. Okay, imbalances in the chakra can manifest as emotional instability, lack of creativity, yeah, low libido, difficulty in establishing, yeah, and maintaining healthy boundaries. Identifying common physical and emotional and energetic symptoms of an imbalanced sacral chakra. Imbalances in the sacral chakra can manifest in various ways. Physically, it may lead to lower back pain, reproductive issues, or urinary problems. Emotionally, it can result in mood swings, lack of joy, or difficulty in expressing emotions. Energetically, it may cause a blockage in the flow of creative energy and hinder the ability to connect with others on an emotional level. So again, when I read that, I immediately think, I know I'm such a girl's girl, and I'm not saying I don't love men. I love everyone. That wasn't like a glare to the side. That was just me minding my business. But yes, what I wrote was true. I definitely feel like we talked about this also in the root chakra, that if you have lower back pains, you need to, I'm going to try to figure out where I can get you guys more information about spiritually, if things are happening in your body, where it shows up physically, I guess, you know. And I want to get that information to you guys, because if things are happening and our teeth are getting pulled and things are happening on the left side of your body, or, you know, our heart's on this side, there's a lot of things that are happening. So I just kind of want to see what's happening there. But I do want to talk about the instability of emotions, and then your reproductive issues as well, and urinary problems. And to be honest, I'm going to get a little deep as to take it to when you're having some of these issues, reproductive, urinary, lower back problems, a lot of the times you're trying to fill this chakra with intimacy, with intercourse. So you're trying to understand, like, you're trying to have smacks pretty much to fill this void. And I think that's why a lot of men, they don't necessarily, again, take care of themselves and give themselves that self-love and be like, you know what, I'm beautiful today and I'm gonna gas myself up. Because I hear a lot of men like, oh, why do you guys gas your friends up who know or that look like this and act like this? And it's just like, you don't get it. Sometimes people need that sacral chakra up and active sometimes for the rest of the chakras to flow. Sometimes people never even had any of their chakras appear even opened. They might use them, but they've never been open where they're using them in an effective way. And then people are coming around saying, well, don't gas that person up. Don't make them feel good. Like, they're not a serial killer. Okay? They're not murdering women. You get it. So I think a lot of it happens where you are like being more intimate with people that you usually wouldn't, because you want to feel wanted, you want to feel seen, you want to feel beautiful, you want to just feel like everything inside of you is just kind of like, yeah, working. You want to feel loved, you want to feel desired. And that is the issue where I feel like a lot of people struggle with nowadays, because everything is so logical. Like, you have to put like 2 and 2 is 4. But if we were to count people, if 2 people were together and they would have a baby, 2 and 2 is 3. But people don't look at that perspective. They only look at the logical perspective, which is the math. And math is man-made. Like, we didn't just come up with math, you know. It just wasn't like caveman was like, oh, 2 and 2 is 4. We need 4 of those. It was like we needed a way to measure things and count things, I guess, corners, buildings. Look, near here, there. Okay, I'm just trying to give you the information. Okay, so I was kind of thinking, if you do have like a lot of like PCOS, endometriosis, it's not always just taking care of yourself physically. That is going to be a really big deal, but it's also going to be super important to take care of yourself on an emotional basis and doing the things that make you feel creative. I like to hula hoop sometimes when I'm feeling creative. I like to be creative when it comes to pretty much anything that I'm doing. I'm like, okay, if I have free ability to do something, what's the easiest and most efficient way to do this? And so I made a moss flower, what is it, mirror, and like I made a rug and all these extra things, and I got to explore that. And I really feel like a lot of people don't get to explore things like that. They're like, oh well, I'm not even good at this, I'm not even good at this. And I understand that you're not good at it. I also just feel like you don't have to be good at it. It doesn't have to be good, it doesn't have to be perfect. And the more you're going to judge yourself on something's perfect, you're more on the I need 2 + 2 = 4 because I need that 4 to be crossed at the end of the day, versus I need this 1. I know that 1 + 1 is 2. So I need to think very carefully on how 1 + 1 is 3. So I need to create, or I need to pay attention very carefully on how I create this 3. You know what I'm saying? So I think one situation is a little bit more delicate than the other. And when you think in that 2 + 2 format equaling 4, there's cheat codes, and that's why we have a lot of miscommunication and people not speaking on how they feel. So when you stick in that 2 + 2, there's going to be all different types of like miscommunication, over explaining, being critical, not really critically thinking. Like you're going to be in a place where it's just like, oh, okay, well, science says da 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 da, and that's the only way that you can explain to people, because they don't have that open mindset of understanding that 2 people that may have intercourse together could potentially have a baby. And that's why I feel like there's a lot of single parents and single homes. And I'm not saying that the government didn't plan it and didn't plan like all this stuff in the Black community, but there is a part of where do we stand up for ourselves and kind of say, I need to take accountability for these kids. I need to take accountability for me choosing this man, because there is a point of me choosing somebody and they tricked me and I thought they weren't good for me. But you do get signs of when this person doesn't pay attention or doesn't really care about the things that you're emotional about, or the things that they don't really care about the things that you care about. And but if you're not able to express that anyways, like I feel like I'm speaking more on an advanced level of people who are working on themselves, and an idea where they know that they're aware how they come off to people. They try to correct those actions. They learn from what they've been through, and those type of people. I'm not necessarily speaking to the people that don't know how to control their emotions, and just regular conversation. Like if you think it's scary to have a conversation with your mom or your boss and they haven't caused you any trauma, and someone else's mom. And I'm not saying just because of jitters, but if you are just like, oh my God, my mom put me through so much trauma, how am I supposed to have a conversation with somebody else's mom? That might be something a little deeper that you're going to have to figure out, because you don't even know the person, okay? Maybe the people who we know, we can kind of be like, all right, you're pulling on my strings a little bit. But for people who we don't even know and you're scared about it, that's kind of something different that you're going to have to face. And yeah. So because we are going to have problems in those lower regions, in the reproductive and urinary, it may mean that you're a little bit more active than you need to be, and you need to focus on things that are going to be a little bit more soothing to your soul. And I do want to talk about mood swings and lack of joy and difficulty in expressing emotions. When your sacral chakra is out of balance, it's going to be like I hate you, I love you, I hate you, I love you, I don't know what, I don't know what, I don't know what. And it's because you feel like this person is supposed to create happiness, or you think something outside of you is supposed to create happiness. And so a lot of the time when people get confused of why they should be in a relationship, a connection, maybe like a partnership in a business, is because, well, business is a little bit different, but you can still feel it in your sacral chakra. Most people who own businesses are spiritual. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like there's some type of, you know what I'm saying, going on there. And so I definitely feel like when you have these mood swings and lack of joy, you're putting your happiness in how somebody else shows up in your life. And I like to explain that on a deeper level, because it's not just how they show up in your life. It is how well do you treat yourself, that if somebody can come in and make you think differently about yourself, in like almost like a negative way. Like if you're someone that works on themselves and you express to other people like, I've been working on this and this is what I've been doing, and you've been getting like rebuttal like left and right, or you've been getting like just rejected left and right, but you're still up and going, you're still someone that's like flowing and understanding the process. If you don't know how to communicate, I'm not talking to you. Like if you can't communicate your simple feelings of what your needs and wants are, or just tell somebody like, hey, this might not be working, or, you know, like I feel like this way because of this. And I know that it's hard, but it is because that sacral chakra is closed, because you don't desire yourself enough to even want to have the conversation. You don't think that the things that you want are desirable enough to other people, except for the people that you're already in the chaos with. And that's why we get trauma bonded, is because we're around people who want to be around you, and they're like, okay, I like these aspects of you and I want to keep you here for this. And then when that person expands outside of that, they're like, I don't necessarily know if I like that because I wanted you for this. And it's also like, again, we attract what we attract, but we are able to set boundaries. And I want to talk about, you guys can do anything to kind of put yourself in that joyful, kindred spirit, playful, like just aura. Like you can put yourself in a kid's shoes and be like, you know what, I empathize with this kid. I would love to play all day. I would love to just go outside, play all day, do what I want to do, and still make things happen. And you're able to do that. You just have to tap in to what your adult games are. Like, what do you enjoy as an adult, and how can you bring that into your business? How can you bring that into your relationship? How can you bring that into your friendships? And look at it in a way where it's enjoyable to you to do this, because it's beneficial for you to help people. It makes you a better person. But then, hey, you guys might be able to bond over some paintball guns, but if you guys never went to go do that, and you never showed this person, or you never wanted to express to them saying, okay, I'm going to have a conversation with them today, and I don't care how bad it hurts, and you don't take yourself to those limits, you're never going to find that happiness that you're looking for in other people, because you keep expecting them to show up. And yeah, I'm talking to a specific type of person. Again, I don't want to start channeling, but here we are. Also, I want to say, again, it is difficult expressing your emotions, but the more that you do it, the easier it is. And I think that people have to stop taking feelings for facts. Like it's a fact that you feel that way, but it's not a fact in my reality, especially if it's something that I'm trying to work on. So you can feel that way as much as possible, as long as you can express that and that's how you feel, and we're working on it, and you can communicate that to me, we're all good. But that's not usually what's happening in people's lives, and I get that as well. And so when your creativity is blocked, I'm trying to stay on topic, but I have so many things I want to say. When your creativity is blocked, I think that's where we try to get our happiness from other people, and we try to say, okay, well, do you want to snowboarding with me? Do you want to do this with me? Sometimes you need to spend time by yourself so you can do things by yourself, so you can figure out what you like. Because when you come back and say, hey, do you want to do this with me? And the other person says no, you won't feel so affected if this person's doing with you or not. And I want to give an example of how I treated it and how I need to look at it a different way possibly. But I wanted someone to work on a Halloween costume with me, and because they weren't excited about it, and I said, hey, I just, I was like, I don't really feel like you're as excited as I am about some of my, like, these projects sometimes. And they didn't say anything. And they're like, okay, well, if you want to do it, like, I don't mind it. Like, they didn't say anything about, like, the excitement. They just kind of reiterated that, like, they don't mind doing it. And for me, it's kind of like, if you were to just tell me that you don't want to do this with me, I would have more enjoyment of doing it by myself, because it's like, okay, well, I'm going to do it by myself anyways. So, like, let me get you out of the picture so I can redirect my mind in a sense where, I'm working in my zone and I know what that's like. And that it's going to relieve pressure, and that it's going to make you feel good because you've done it before. And so a lot of people, I want to talk about an opposite end too, but I'm just going to stick on the fact of sometimes when we feel hurt that people don't do things with us, it's more hurtful to kind of like, I don't want to say it's more hurtful, but if you're someone that's experiencing that people don't want to do things with you, or they're trying to, I don't know, stick around for the ride, it's just not enjoyable for you, and you notice that, and you're just like, okay, well, if you don't want to do something with me, then just tell me so I can figure it out by myself. But you want people to do things with you, you need to spend time alone. You need to spend time by yourself and figuring out what you can do in the midst of, like, when this person or when these people, and I get it, you don't like to stick in your own thoughts because maybe there's a lot of narratives that you told yourself that you don't believe are true, or maybe there's conversations that you don't feel like is true, but you do have to work through it, and people can't work it out with you all the time. They can't be the voice of reason for you. So it's very important to stick with God. Understand that there is a lot that needs to happen when it comes to healing yourself and understanding yourself and just being comfortable with where you're at, and be comfortable with where you're at, and be comfortable with sharing be comfortable with sharing where you're at with other people, because we can't read your mind. We don't know what you're going through. There is a lot of redirecting, like, emotions, especially when you're not someone that's able to speak up on how you feel. So it's like, okay, I'm feeling this way because, or I'm doing this because, and that's great. But I definitely think you have to be the person to kind of like come forth and kind of say that's how you feel. If the other person's not going to, and just kind of not expect a reaction, just be like, hey, this is where I'm at. I don't know how you feel about it. And that's all. So next week, we're going to be talking about techniques for balancing and clearing the sacral chakra, guided meditations and connecting with the sacral chakra, introducing crystals and essential oils that support healing, yoga poses and movements to activate and balance your chakra, and affirmations and mantras. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do like to just talk to you real, just to kind of get like these points across, so it's not just like a PowerPoint. There is a lot of realness when it comes to getting to learn yourself and understanding that what they teach you in these classes of, yes, we can, do the motions and do the signs and like all this extra stuff. And it's not extra. We can do all these extra precautions, and we can have these mindful techniques all the time. But sometimes it's not going to show up in our everyday life if we don't have the luxury of doing these things all the time. Like, I would have to meditate when I was on the bus going to work, and now I get to meditate at home in a place where people aren't bothering me, where the TV's not on, where I'm not hearing like random conversations or people on the phone. And there is levels. So I just want you to be patient with yourself and understand that because things are a process, where you're at, just pay attention to where you're at right now. Don't try to blur through it and rush through it, because you might miss some very vital information of when you do get something that you want, and you're scratching your head and saying, man, this is what I wanted, how come it's not working out? Or this is what I wanted, then, why isn't it looking like this? Or how come? And what it will look like is if someone keeps telling you the same thing over and over and over and over, you don't have access to the next point. That's something I'm starting to figure out. If something is like boom, like it's over and over and over and over and over, you don't have access to the next point because the situation's not being dealt with properly. So an example of that is if you don't, your girlfriend's getting on your nerves, or your boyfriend's getting on your nerves, or your coworker's getting on your nerves, and they do the same things every day, and you're trying different ways, and you're trying different ways. You just haven't found the way to go about fixing it. And the only way you can go about fixing it is if you go straight to the source. There's no way around it. Sometimes when people say there's gotta go through it, there's no way around it. You can't go over it. You gotta go through it. You gotta go to the source. And a lot of people hate going to the source. And guess what? I'm the source. So I hope this video found you. I'm just on a high, you guys. I was outside and I'm just having a beautiful day. I'm a little sun drunk because I was in the sun for like a while and talking and doing my little spiel and getting things working on the next point. And I really hope that you guys like this video and you get to enjoy. Don't forget to go to the source. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Don't forget to ask yourself, you know, what are the things that you like? Don't forget to, or how about this? I don't want to say don't forget. Ask yourself questions that are going to make you question the things that you like. Ask yourself questions of, how did that show make me feel? How did that conversation make me feel? How is this making me feel? And access it, analyze it. Do I like it? Do I not like it? And start putting yourself in situations where you can determine how things make you feel based off if you like it or if you don't like it, so you can start analyzing your life and pushing yourself forward. And again, I appreciate you guys for being here with me today, and I will see you next time. Bye.